Guys, it's Lily, and if you're new here, I'm a new mom, and sleep has been a very touchy subject recently. I know many moms just like me are exhausted from the daily struggle of putting baby to sleep and night wakings. Today, I want to share a game changer, the Gianna Baby Sound Machine. It has truly been a lifesaver for me. This amazing sound machine offers 26 soothing sounds, including white noise, nature sounds, and lullabies, all designed to help your little one fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. The 8 eye care night lights are perfect for nighttime feedings and check-ins, and you can adjust the brightness to create the perfect sleep environment. The sound machine can hold a charge all night without being plugged in, which is great for times when the power goes out, but you can also plug it in with the charging cable. There's so many amazing features with this sound machine, but my favorite is that it connects to an app. So it is called My K-Life app. You can download it on the App Store, and I already connected mine to my app, but it gives you a step-by-step guide on how to do that when you set it up. My favorite feature is the auto soothe feature. They are weak, but he is strong. As you can see here, I am recording my voice singing Jesus Loves Me. This is the one song that will always calm my baby when he's crying, and here you will see that it is activated when he's crying and it turns on automatically, and he just starts automatically being soothed by my singing. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes. Some of my other favorite features is the wake up and sleep feature, so you can put what time you want your baby to wake up and what time is bedtime to start a bedtime routine. You can change the lights from all the way in a different room, all on your phone, which is so awesome. You can also adjust the sound and the brightness. You can also set a timer, which is great for if your baby's crying, you want to set a timer for how long, to wait. And then you can set as many favorites as you would like. So you can put the sound that you want, you can put the color that you want, you can put the volume that you want, the brightness that you want. It's all customizable, and you can also add this to your bedtime routine, your wake up routine, whatever. There's a child lock. There's also a display. You can do military time or regular, time. Since we started using the Gianna Baby Sound Machine, our nights have been so much more peaceful. Baby is sleeping better, and so am I. It's rechargeable, so no need to worry about batteries, and it's also a sleep training clock to help your little one learn when it's time to wake up. The Gianna Baby Sound Machine is not just a sound machine, it's a parenting companion. It helps your baby develop good sleep habits while giving you more free time to focus on other things. Gianna Baby Sound Machine is a must-have for any parent. It is a worthwhile investment for your little one's future. Now let's get into the rest of the video. So officially, hello you guys. It's Lily. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. So today, as you have already seen, I want to talk about sleep. So this has been kind of a touchy subject for me in my motherhood journey. I was not blessed with a good sleeper, I guess you could say, but I am blessed with a healthy, beautiful boy. I try not to complain too much, but as I'm sure you know, if you are a mom or a parent, that sleep deprivation and not getting good sleep for months on end is really hard and can get to you mentally. So I kind of just wanted to, talk about just what we've done. You know, maybe things we've done are not right or they are right, but I've tried to listen to my intuition, and just go based off of what I feel is right for him, and just been asking the Lord what to do. I mean, that is like probably my number one tip, is just to seek wisdom from the Lord, because he has all of your answers. It's easier said than done though, because, you know, in the middle of the night when they're awake and you don't know what's going on, it's like, what do I do? I try to just stay positive and just ask the Lord, you know, what is the best thing for him? What's the best thing for me? And yeah, I'm by no means a sleep specialist or, you know, have anything to do with like sleep training or sleep advice or anything like that. This is literally just our journey and, you know, what I've experienced and been learning in the past 5 months. So this is literally pretty much just, yeah, my story, nothing else other than that. You can take some advice if you want, or you can take some of what I've done into your personal journey. Yeah, this is not an advice video really. It's just kind of like what we've done so far, because as you will see, things have not worked out. So also, I was supposed to film this video while he was asleep, but he woke up early from his nap. So he's literally in this like little like skip hop play area, like play seat, and he's been loving it. I definitely recommend, if you're pregnant, get one of those like activity like seat things for when they turn like 5-6 months, because he's loving it and he gets to stand up and just play. I'm just gonna start off with the very beginning and then kind of go to what we are now, where we are now. So he is 5 months right now. He'll be like 5.5 months, I think, this week. I don't really know, but he'll be 6 months on June 9th. So when he was a newborn, if you have not watched my previous videos of like how he was born, I had a C-section. So I don't know, you know, there'll be statistics that say like, oh, you know, depending on how they came out will depend on how good of a sleeper they are. Does that even matter? I don't even know, but I just want to say I did have a C-section. So when he was born, I was super like out of it. I was like really tired from the drugs and from just being in labor for 24 hours. So yeah, so being in the hospital was a blur. He, I remember, was a pretty good newborn sleeper. I feel like all newborns are pretty good sleepers, but for the most part, I will not classify him as colicky. He was never, like, he never was to the point where he would, like, cry for hours and hours on end. He has been a more, like, fussy baby, I guess you would say, but I think that just really has to do with, like, him just learning and growing, which I'll get into that. So in the hospital, you know, as I said, I don't really remember. I know there's supposed to be that like 4-hour stretch that they take when they're like first born. I don't even remember if he did that or not. I was very like adamant about holding him all the time. So I basically just held him the whole time we were in the hospital. I laid him in that like plastic plexiglass bassinet like maybe 3 times. I think I laid him there like maybe for 2 hours so I could sleep, so I wasn't holding him, because I was literally holding him while I was sleeping, which was getting uncomfortable. So I put him in there like maybe a couple times, but I mean he was sleepy, you know, when he was first born. So when we got home, we have a bedside bassinet. So the first night he slept in there, no problem. Second night, probably same thing. Then it got to, I have no idea when, but he did not want to be put down. He was, you know, I feel like your typical newborn did not want to be put down to sleep, because he was so used to us holding him while he was sleeping. So around, I don't even know, probably the first week, we co-slept. So in my mind, I was okay with co-sleeping. I actually kind of wanted to do it because I read a lot of things, researched, and it said that, you know, co-sleeping actually is beneficial. in the first, you know, couple months or whatever. I was a little nervous about it at first since it was our first baby, you know, but they do say, like, you're not going to intentionally roll over your baby. Like, you're just, the way that you sleep after being a mom, it's like, you're a lot lighter of a sleeper. I never was afraid that I would roll over him. The only thing that I would be, like, scared about would be, like, if he was sleeping for a long time and, like, I would wake up and be scared, like, he was, like, not breathing. But I feel like that's kind of just, like, a normal postpartum fear or, you know, whatever. So, yeah. So we co-slept from about week 1 to, I would say, maybe, like, 2 months. I did not track really, but in between that time, you know, of co-sleeping, so I would have him on my side, which was not ideal because that was, you know, nerve-wracking to have him kind of on the side of the bed. I had like a blanket or a towel on the edge so that, you know, if he did end up like rolling, which he couldn't roll at that point, or whatever, scooting a little bit, like he would have a barrier. But I was not feeling comfortable him sleeping in between us, me and my husband, because my husband, you know, he was not getting up in the middle of the night with him. I was solely getting up in the middle of the night. I just didn't feel comfortable. Like, I didn't know, our bed is a queen, so we have a smaller bed. So I was nervous, like my husband would, you know, be too tired and then end up like rolling or whatever, or putting the blanket over him or pillow or whatever. So I just felt more comfortable him on the other side. So we slept like that. During naps, we mostly just contact napped for a while, up until like my husband went back to work. So he was off for about a month. So then once he went back to work was when I tried to kind of get things going again, getting life going again. So I would try to put him in like his crib. Some naps he did great. Some naps I could put him in his crib and he would sleep great. Some naps I would put him down and 5 minutes later he would have to get picked up. He's getting a little fussy already. I did try to start implementing putting him down for naps pretty early on because mostly I just wanted to get things done, and a lot of his naps would be in the carrier. So I mainly carried him for the first couple of months. My battery's about to die and he's fussy, so I'm going to get a new battery and then grab him, and I'll be right back. How ironic that I am filming a video about sleep and he is completely off his sleep schedule right now, and he's just so tired. I don't know if you can hear him right now, but he's upstairs. He's trying to go to sleep. He only had an hour and 15-minute nap, which he usually has a 2-hour nap. So he just was cranky from the get-go. So I tried to put him down, and now he's crying, but he's definitely tired, so we'll see. Let's just keep going. Okay, so I was saying that he took a lot of contact naps. That was like the only way he napped, basically, from like newborn to probably like 3 months. Again, I should have like written all this down as it happened, but I kind of, you know how it is with a newborn. No, like napping at this time, like it was just basically eat, sleep, play, which a lot of people do. Like he would sleep for however long, usually 2 hours, wake up, eat, play, and then sleep again. Now, he, again, was a very sporadic sleeper. He, like, around 2 months, he would only sleep for, like, 30-minute stretches. There was a point in time where he was only sleeping for 30 minutes for naps. I think that was around 3 months, 2 months, 3 months. Basically, that was, like, that routine for, like, newborn to about 3 months. So at night, though, he was a pretty good sleeper. I would still have to wake up every 2 to 3 hours. Some nights he would give me like a 3-hour stretch. Those were glorious. Some days he would give me like very rarely a 4-hour stretch. It was mainly just like 3 hours would be like the max. But he would wake up I would feed him and then he would go right back to sleep. I would have to change him because of course he would poop and stuff in the middle of the night. So I would have to change his diaper, but for the most part, he would wake up, eat, and go straight back to sleep. So we stopped co-sleeping around, I would say 2 months, because it was just very uncomfortable for me. I don't like not having covers over me. I don't like not being able to fluff in the pillow and all that stuff. It was very difficult for me. I really wanted to like it. I've heard people rave about co-sleeping and how much it just changed their life, and it was great. But for me, it was more just very uncomfortable. I was not sleeping well. I would always wake up, my neck would be killing me. My body would be hurting because I would have to stay in one position all night, where I'm a very active sleeper. I like to toss and turn, and so it was just a really not a good way to sleep for me. So when I was doing tummy time with him when he was about like 2 months old, I realized that he would fall asleep during tummy time, and I thought that was interesting. And so I started trying to put him down for naps on his tummy, and he would like it. He would actually fall asleep. And so I then started letting him sleep on his stomach. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy around this because all sleep experts say do not put babies on their stomach. Do not do it. But this is the only way he would sleep without me holding him or co-sleeping. And so I did a lot of research before having him on what mattresses to get. And I really felt comfortable getting the Newton mattresses, which are 100% breathable. They could put their face right on it and they would breathe completely through it, even their mattress covers and their sheets. And so I got everything Newton, and I felt really comfortable with him sleeping with his face down. I also didn't start putting him belly down to sleep until he had a little bit of head control where he could turn his head side to side. So around 2 months, he was able to do that. He was able to lift his head. Honestly, he was able to lift his head from like the first couple of weeks he was born. It was kind of crazy. Like I have a video of him when he was first like couple weeks old, and I had him on my chest and he would like lift his head. Yeah, he always had pretty good head support or head control. So I also felt comfortable about that because I knew he could turn his head side to side. So again, I am not a sleep expert. I am not giving you advice. This is my experience. Okay, he's finally back to sleep. He was just tired. Sorry if you could hear that. And then around 3 months, it was about 3.5 months, he was doing great. He was in his bassinet, sleeping. He would only wake up about once or twice in the middle of the night. I remember I started dream feeding him really early. I started dream feeding him around when we started putting him to bed at a certain time. So we started doing a bedtime routine really early on, probably around a month. And so that just means we would give him a bath, not every night, but about every other night, or about 3 days a week, we would give him a bath. We would put this calming balm on him, just make him really relaxed. Then we started putting him to bed early, like, 7:30, 8 o'clock, around, I would say 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months. I forget when the age is that they can like go to bed at that time. But he started, getting really cranky. It's the witching hour around 6 to 7. So we just started putting him to bed around that time. And then gradually he would get longer and longer stretches. And so that's always his longest stretch, is in between when he goes to bed and then his first waking up. But I would dream feed him from the beginning. So I would always, before we went to bed, feed him. So we've been putting him to bed around 8. And then we go to bed around 10:30, and so I'd feed him at 10:30. So then he would only wake up around 3:45. So 3:45 was like every day he would wake up at that time, and then he would go back to sleep, and then wake up about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then eat, and then he'd go back down until like 9. So yeah, that was great. That was around 2.5 to 3.5 months. There was like a few weeks there where he was consistent with that. And then something happened, and he had either like a sleep regression or I don't know, but ever since that like 3.5 month mark, sleep has been really, really hard. I thought it was a sleep regression or he was having a growth spurt. So he started waking up every 2 hours, every hour and a half, very consistently. And I was getting no sleep. My husband was getting literally no sleep and he was back to work. So he was just tired all the time. And I would try to console him, you know, immediately your first response to a baby waking up in the middle of the night is feed them. And so I would always feed him, but he wouldn't even want to eat. I figured, okay, it's not that he's hungry. It's more just like his body's waking him up. He's uncomfortable. I don't know what's really going on. Up until this point, I was trying to put him down tired, but not fully asleep. And he was doing pretty good with that. He wouldn't really fall asleep while breastfeeding. He would unlatch from breastfeeding and then fall asleep on his own. So we tried pacifiers, but pacifiers didn't really work for him. We've been doing them, you know, sporadically since he was born, but he's never really loved a pacifier. You know, we've tried that we've tried that to get him to sleep, but he's just never really clung on to the pacifier. In the middle of the night, when he would wake up, I would try to feed him and then he would just fall back asleep. He wouldn't even eat. So I figured this is probably a sleep regression. So it went on for about a week straight and I was exhausted. I was getting literally no sleep. I was so tired. So I was like, okay, this is not working. I need sleep. Jack needs sleep. So I'm going to put him in his crib. And that was a really hard decision because I didn't want to put him in his crib because I knew he would be crying if I wasn't there. And I knew kind of the newborn bassinet, all those newborn sweet moments are kind of gone. Not gone, but he's growing up, he's changing, and he's not going to be sleeping in our room, which I actually really wanted him to stay in our room until 6 months or longer than that. I loved having him in our room. I just try to hold on to every moment. This season of him being a baby is so short, and so I try to hold on to it. It's the fact that, I decided to put him in his crib a little earlier. Kind of was sad because I didn't want to force him to grow up, I guess, but also for my sanity and for Jack's sanity, we needed sleep. And so I tried that. We were getting better sleep because we weren't hearing him tossing and turning and crying as much. If it was before 2 hours, I would try to let him cry. So I would set a timer for 5 minutes and I would let him cry for that long. And if he stopped crying before 5 minutes, then we could go back to sleep. But if he would continue to cry for 5 minutes, I would go in there. And I started doing that with his naps as well. And so that was really helpful in that 3.5 to 4 month time frame, because his body was just waking himself up and he didn't need anything. It was just waking up. And so to give him that time to kind of self-soothe and go back to sleep was helpful for him, I think, but it was hard for me because I didn't want to hear him cry. Putting a timer on really helped because I knew he wasn't crying for super long, even though it feels like he was crying for a long time. I knew it's only 5 minutes. He eventually started some weeks he would have longer stretches, some weeks he would still be waking up an hour and a half to 2 hours, at a time. That has been kind of consistent until now. And so, yeah, it's been hard. I've tried everything because I exclusively breastfeed. So, I've tried everything from bottle feeding during the day, maybe thinking he's not getting enough ounces at night, because I know that's a huge thing that a lot of the sleep studies say, feed them a lot during the day. So I would even track his ounces during the day. That didn't even help. I would, people said, okay, start doing a solid bedtime routine, bathe him every single night. So I started doing that. That didn't help. I've tried literally every suggestion and nothing really has helped or worked. And I've just realized and decided that this is just kind of how he is. He's just not a great sleeper. And I think there's some babies that are just like that. They're just not great sleepers. He has had a lot of milestones back to back to back. He started rolling over from tummy to back at 4 months, which is pretty early. Actually, I think it was around 3.5 to 4 months. So it's pretty early for a baby. And then he would not be able to roll back. So he, as I said, sleeps on his stomach. So he was really waking himself up a lot because he couldn't roll back over. So that was an issue. And I think, you know, when babies roll over, those milestones cause them to sleep less because they're, you know, regressions, sleep regressions, milestones, whatever. He started talking a lot more. He got his voice. He started just babbling a lot right after he started rolling over. And so I think that was also a regression, or like a milestone. And then he started rolling over from back to stomach at right before he turned 5 months. So that, again, he has started a little bit earlier. Usually, like, babies don't roll over from their back to their stomach until around 5.5 to 6 months. So all of these things have gone very quick. We're all in a very short time frame. So I think his milestones and his brain, it's just been very back to back, and he's just not really had a break. Also, now we think he's teething. And so I think that is causing the issue of why he's not sleeping, because he has been very, very drooly. He chews on everything. He doesn't seem like, at least since a couple weeks ago, he wasn't seeming like he was in pain. But now I feel like he is getting in pain, because he will cry. Like, honestly, he might be uncomfortable right now because of the teething. He will wake up a lot just in pain because he'd be fed, he'd be changed, all that, and he'd be crying. And he's only 5 months, so I definitely think he's early on the teething as well. I've been checking and looking in his mouth, and it hasn't popped through at all yet, but they're definitely, I can see a white spot, and they're definitely hard. The gums are hard. So that's just been his life. He's just had a lot going on. He's also a boy, and I've heard that boys just are a little bit more awake. They are just harder to go to sleep, harder to sleep. So I think that also could have something to do with it as well. So now around, I would say around 4 months, he did start breastfeeding to sleep. And I think that is something that maybe I should have stopped, or I should have maybe done differently, because now he really is dependent on me to sleep. He can't really self-regulate. He does self-regulate, or self-soothe, I mean. He does do it, and we've been teaching him and training him to do it since he was really little, you know, putting him awake but asleep, or awake but sleepy, using the pacifier. He likes to suck on his fingers a lot, but now since he's a little bit older, he has been more dependent on me, because I always feed him before bed and stuff like that, and he always ends up falling asleep while doing that. So honestly, I personally don't really mind. He is a little baby. He is gonna be not little forever, and so it's a very bonding thing. It's something that I enjoy and something that he enjoys, and so I really don't mind him using me as a pacifier. I know a lot of people have different thoughts on that, but I know, like, he's not going to be doing this forever. One day I am going to have to, you know, cut him off, but right now, like, I just feel that it is something that we enjoy together, and that he finds comfort in, and it is a healthy thing. You know, he's getting the nutrients from the milk, and he's co-regulating and bonding, and we're having skin to skin. And so we don't get to do that a lot anymore because he's older. You know, we got things going on, and so it's just a moment to be together, and so I really don't mind it. That's where we're at right now. Again, this is not any advice. This is just what I have been going through and what we've been going through as new parents. That is pretty much it. I'm gonna go get him because he is not asleep. I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't want to let him cry too much longer. I will say that when he was going through the sleep regression, he was waking up every hour and a half and not needing anything, I would try to let him cry for 5 to 10 minutes, and I have already said that. but I always have the monitor on. And so that's been something that we've come to terms with and we've been okay with. I never thought I would be a parent that would allow my child to cry. Honestly, I don't like the cry it out method at all, but I think every parent does things differently, and with every child does things differently. And with him, he just cries a lot. He wakes himself up a lot. And so for my sanity, I needed to be okay with letting him cry so that I could just get some sleep, because getting up and out of bed all the time was just really hard, and I knew he didn't need anything. So I don't know with the next baby or whatever, that maybe they won't be like that. Maybe they won't wake up as much, or they'll sleep more. Every baby's different, and maybe like the next baby won't need me to come console him as much or whatever. And so I think that's about it. And then of course the Gianna Lullume has been great. So he's crying right now, but it's on because of this cry detector. I can put my little message on there, my little recording, to help him sleep. So that's also helpful too when I don't want to go in there, but I want to make sure that he knows I'm there, that recording goes off, and it kind of helps him. But so as I was editing this video, I got an email from the Gianna Lullume team saying that if you actually download the K-Life app, you can use it for free and use all the free sounds that it comes with. So you can use it to pray, to have in your quiet time, to have while you're sleeping, while you're resting, while you're focusing. There's so many ways you can use it. And yeah, if you go and download it, you can use that resource for free without even buying the Gianna Lullume sound machine. So make sure to go check that out. But I'm gonna go get him. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.